There's a lot of 4-day-week models out there. This committee that we have in this district has been established for well over a year now. This is not something new that this community has looked at. It just resurfaced again in a big hurry when we found out we had $800,000 to cut. 4-day week has been in the United States educational system for over 30 years. There's a lot of calendar options. Our calendar committee, and I really want to thank them, they put a lot of extra time in the last several weeks. We're getting underway to start really looking at some different calendar options. And there's always a big debate, do you take off Monday or Friday? As far as student contact hours, just a couple of examples. Salida currently is going more hours than most of our neighbors around here. We haven't checked into everything. We go 1,183 hours a year right now on a 5-day week. Buena Vista goes 1,080 hours. Buena Vista's on a 5-day week. Cotopaxi goes 1,102.5 hours on a 4-day week. And again, how does all of this impact all of us? Education and students at the top, staff, community activities, they're all important. We'll take care of a lot of this in our questions and answers also. Next steps, did you go back one, I believe? Or did I miss one? Next steps, we're going to continue to have budget committee meetings. In fact, we talked about it at our last meeting last Friday morning, that as soon as we get through this budget year, we're going to continue to meet to already start working on next year because it's that critical. We'll continue our staff updates, surveys, community parents, students and staff surveys. That's going to start tonight. And we have a lot of upcoming dates. We're planning a district accountability meeting next Monday again. And you can see what's left in March all the way up to the board meeting. It says TBA. Right now that's scheduled for April 12th. Will we be able to announce the budget for the next fiscal year by then? We hope so. A lot has to be determined on what the state of Colorado does between now and then too. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Dave.
Leslie and Daryl, thank you very much. We've thrown a lot of information out, and as you probably all know, there's a lot of information underneath all of the information that was presented tonight, so it's complex and it's deep. Hopefully that'll stimulate some questions and some ideas, which we'll get to very shortly. To state the obvious, we're facing a tough problem, so we need everybody's help. If you prefer, these folks are professionals, and they're getting prepared to make decisions as soon as possible, and are seeking our inputs. So if the decision-making process won't go on forever, it's important out of respect for the staff, teachers, students, and frankly the community to make the best decision as quickly as possible. So balancing those things is what these folks and others have to do, and they need your help and ideas. If you prefer to write your questions down, or if we run out of time and we don't have a chance to ask a question that you'd like to ask, I'm going to ask Robin and Doug if you'll pass out the index cards and some pencils. If anybody wants an index card to write a question down on, just raise your hand as they come by and they'll take care of you. We're going to continue on, if you don't mind, while they do that. Every question that gets asked on an index card will be answered and posted on the school website. So we're looking for questions, we're looking for ideas. The panel will do its best to respond to your concerns and your questions with what they know and what they're thinking about, to be transparent. It's likely we may not have answers tonight, but it may be more important to ask questions. Asking the right question can create the kind of thinking and ideas that may bubble up something that could be really unique and creative that would help us out in a situation. We're not the federal government, we don't print money, so that option's off the table. But if there's anybody here who would like to write a check tonight, I'll be happy to take that on behalf of the community. Seriously though, questions are very important, and we want to get to a decision. I'm speaking for the professionals here, the panel wants to get to a decision as quickly as possible out of respect for the teachers, the students, and frankly, us, the community. So, with that, I'm going to open it up to questions. We've got another mic here. I've got Doug doing double duty, but if somebody wants to lead it off and start with a question, we'll get it going.
I want to know how it is going to impact the little children if they have to go to school a longer day. Number two, there was a letter in the Mountain Mail that said, well, we can send our children up to Monarch on Friday, which is real nice. Who's going to pay for it and who's going to do that? Mr. Simonson had that in the Mountain Mail. And then, didn't we just vote for a raise in teachers' salaries? Raise our taxes? What happened to that?
Panel, we have at least two of those three questions. I don't know that we can speak for Mr. Simonson, but we can certainly talk about the elementary school kids and the teacher raises. Daryl?
If I understand that, how it will impact little children if they have to ride the bus longer days, yes, we know that it depends on what the day looks like, and that's why it's very valuable to be tonight too. Some 4-day school weeks extend the calendar year out a little bit, and they go into June, and they start a little bit earlier in August, and go to school from 8 to 4, or 7:55 to 4. Some shorten up their calendar and go a lot longer days, and then they go from 7:30 to 4, for instance, so it is a longer day. And I can tell you, just a short answer to all of that, if we do end up going to a 4-day week, we've got to really carefully think about all of the questions that are going to come up. And I firmly believe we can solve them. There have been 4-day week schools at the top of the charts in scores for years, right along with 5-day weeks. They get it done somehow, and those are the districts that you go talk to if we decide to make this decision. How are you guys making it work? And we've already started a lot of those conversations. As far as to Monarch on Friday, I don't have an answer for that. If somebody else does, great.
In terms of your question about the mill levy override that we passed a couple of years ago, that was for 15% raise to all of our staff over a 3-year period, and we did that. Our staff did receive those salary increases. We did what we said we would with that money. This is a cut from the state. And so it's lucky that we did pass that because our teachers' salaries stabilized and became more closer to average, which we're pleased about. These are cuts to our funding. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
Question here.
Do you guys already have an estimated number of contact hours when you go to a 4-day week? As far as, like, right now you said 1,100 and something already?
Right now, we're at 1183. The draft calendars the committee's been working on shows all drafts right now are keeping it at 1183. And again, we have to massage that a little bit. Right now, one calendar starts at 8, goes to 4, the other one says 55 and goes to 4. Whether it's Friday or Monday, it doesn't make much difference right now on the calendar. So that's one thing that, if this is what the board and the community wants. We know we go way more now than the state mandate, which is getting way more than most of our neighbors. But we feel that we could keep it that way, keep the same amount of time.
And I'd like to add, as far as the board's point of view, and I believe full board feels this way, we do not want to see a reduction in student contact time. We have worked hard to gain those days and those hours, and we look to maintain that.
Kind of piggybacking off the first woman's comments, I'd really like to see a comprehensive list of all the cost-cutting options that are on the table and understand how the numbers will come up with. From what I read, in the districts that have gone into a 4-day week, there seemed to be a trend of overestimating the cost savings. and it was very difficult to get to the number they estimated. So, I'd like